participating today. So, Ms. Curado, who would you like to call as a witness?
Miss Sernakidos.
Okay, Ms. Sernakidos, if you'll raise your right hand for me, please, so I can give you an oath. You swear the testimony you're going to provide in this case is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Curado.
And Miss Sernakidos, where are you employed?
I'm employed with Belong.
Is Belong an agent of the department providing case management services to children in care?
Yes.
Okay, great. And how long have you been the caseworker on this case?
I've been the caseworker as of October 30th.
Now, Miss Sernakido, how old are Crystal and Kaylee Ann?
Crystal is 3 years old, and Kaylee Ann is 2.
Okay. And where are they placed?
They're currently placed in a foster adopt home.
Okay. And how are they doing in their placement?
They're doing great in their placement. They're very bonded to the foster parents.
Does either Crystal or Kaylee Ann receive any kind of special services?
They are both receiving speech therapy twice a week.
Okay. And no, sorry, go ahead if you were going to continue.
We did refer them to ECI services so that we can try and get Crystal into the Head Start program in September.
Kaylee Ann has some issues, some medical issues. Is that correct?
Yes.
Just briefly describe how those are going.
Kaylee Ann has a tendency to swallow into her lungs, her drinks. The doctor has recommended that they be thickened in. There's this packet that foster parents have been ordering for her. It's one package for every 4 ounces, and it causes the drink to get a little thicker than usual. Or she'll swallow it into her lungs when she's drinking something. They did an EGD with a biopsy, where they put the camera down her esophagus. It turns out that she has a larger than normal opening to her esophagus. So when she's drinking, it tends to go in there instead of, straight into her stomach. They want to give her some medications to try and shrink it down. They hope it can go down, shrink down. But right now, the concern is everything has to be thickened. She can't have no normal drinks, or she'll swallow into it, and it causes her to have, lung infections. She's been in and out of the hospital for it. It causes fevers. She had pneumonia. So it's a big concern. She does have specialists treating her for it. She's got a GI doctor because she does have acid reflux, which also causes it, when she burps or vomits, causes it to go down her esophagus.
Okay. But you feel confident that that those issues are being addressed for her, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you believe that the children's needs are being met by their placement?
Yes. They're very attentive to her needs, especially Kaylee Ann's. She's also allergic to eggs, dairy products. So they've gone as far as to change the whole family's diet to accommodate hers.
Okay. Is it Belong's opinion that this placement continues to be in the girl's best interest at this time?
Yes.
And is Belong asking the court today to continue the girl's current placement?
Yes.
Okay. Let's turn to the parents and let's, Miss, how would you gauge Miss Salinas's compliance with her service plan?
She is not in compliance.
And what services, if any, engaged in?
She did complete a drug treatment back in the beginning of the case before I came on board. She since then relapsed. We referred her again to another treatment center, which would have been outpatient. And the last I spoke to her was in January. She said she was not ready to commit to that treatment. she had other stuff to do and take care of. And to this point, she hasn't made any other efforts.
Has she been engaging in any other of the court ordered services?
She has participated in 3 visits out of 10. One I didn't witness. I wasn't there at that time. The other 2 I was there, which would have been in December the 1st. She came to the visit, and December, what's that? I want to say January 7th, I think
So
it
you
was.
said 3 visits out of 10 total
Yes, since
Okay.
October.
since October. How have the visits gone when mom does go?
The first visit I monitored, things seemed to be well. She was asking a lot of affection from the girls, kept asking them to come hug her. The girls kind of just would look at her and smile. The second visit, however, to me was inappropriate. I had to correct her twice. She had Kaylee Ann sitting on her lap. I'm banging on the glass window, which is the window where we absorb through. I had to go and ask her to put her down and have her play with the toys behind her. But she continued to just let her bang on that window. Crystal, she showed her how to turn on and off the light and just let her turn the switch back and forth, on and off until I stepped in and said, can you ask her not to do that? Can you step away from the door and have her sit down and interact with them instead? So those were the 2 corrections on the second visit. But, she just had them doing that the whole time. She wasn't interacting. She wasn't trying to read or color or entertain them.
What does Belong want to see from Miss Salinas going forward in this case?
To show a little more parenting skills during her visits, and to engage in her services.
Let's turn to Mr. Aviles. How would you gauge Mr. Aviles's compliance with his service plan?
Mr. Aviles is not in compliance. He did complete a psychological before I came on board. But that's all he's done so far as the services. He does attend all the visits. He's been there all 10 visits. We even gave him a 2-hour visit. Since mom didn't show up, we let him stay there the whole 2 hours.
Okay. Does Belong have any concerns with dad's visits?
The concerns with that visit is with Kaylee Ann. Like I said, she's allergic to eggs and dairy products. Dad brought cereal and poured milk into it, and was going to feed it to Kaylee Ann. I had to intervene and say she's allergic. She can't have milk. She also needs her drinks to be thickened before she can take any drinks. He has continuously allowed her to take sips out of his drinks. The first time he said he didn't have the packet, and I understood. I told him, well, I don't have any. So I did purchase some for the visits, and I handed him some at a different visit. He still didn't use it, and he turned his back where I couldn't see him. He had Kaylee Ann on his lap and allowing her to continue drinking and sipping out of his drink. I had to intervene and tell him that she couldn't do that because the conditions. He then asked me, when was she going to get over the allergies? When was it going to, be done with that?
I did forget to ask when we were talking about Miss Salinas, I did forget to ask about drug testing, but let me stay with Mr. Aviles. Has Mr. Aviles submitted to any random drug tests in this case?
No, he's not. We sent him on December the 1st. We asked him to do a swab. He refused. We sent him on October the 25th as well. He said he wanted it lab tested, so he would go in person. He didn't show. We sent him again on the 29th. Again, he was a no-show. And I recently sent him on the 7th. After his last visit, he said he had to go to work. So he couldn't get there. I told him, well, they close at 8. I asked him, what time do you get off of work? He said at 5. I said, well, they close at 8. And he said, okay. He was still a
Now,
no-show.
what about backtracking? What about Miss Salinas? Has she submitted to any random drug testing in this case?
Miss Salinas has not submitted to any, and we send her on the same days as well.
What would you like to see from Mr. Aviles going forward in this case?
To start participating in services, get engaged with the services, not just show up for the visits.
Yeah, okay. And what's the current permanency goal?
Right now, we're looking at unrelated adoption.
Okay,
The current foster parents are willing and able and ready if we go there.
Okay.
And we're also looking at secondary being relative or kinship adoption.
I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Mr. Kapmeyer,
No questions.
Mr. Collins,
So during we had a family group conference just the other day, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, and father participated with that family group conference?
yes,
And we kind of discussed, it was kind of free flowing. We kind of discussed all these topics that you just listed out regarding father while he was on that phone.
correct.
Okay. Have we had a visits with the children since that family group conference?
The next visit is scheduled for,
It hasn't happened yet. Is that fair to
No.
say?
it's,
Okay.
they're twice a month. And the next visit will be on Tuesday, the 21st.
Okay, and so after the family group conference, we talked about all this, so this would be a good chance for the department to observe to see if dad was listening. Would you agree with that?
Yes,
Okay. Drug testing, you said on the 7th, was that February the 7th?
yes.
Okay. And during that, what did you contact dad afterwards to find out why, if they were open till 8? Did he tell you what his schedule was, or do you recall anything of that?
On that day, it was after the visit. I gave him the orders. I said, here's the order. I need you to go do a UA. And he said, I have to go to work. And I said, okay, well, what time do you get off? He said, 5 o'clock. And I said, okay. Well, they close at 8, so you'll have time to go. He goes, okay, I'll go after work. When we had the conference, it was still pending for him to go. I gave him to the 13th to show up. I sent him on the 7th, but I left the order open till the 13th, and he still was a no-show.
And again, if father gets engaged and starts working his services, that would potentially change the department's current goal, potentially.
Potentially it could, yes.
You did state that the backup plan was relative kinship adoption. Does the department have fictive kin or family that the department is looking at or has looked at?
We did have a conference with the previous parents, foster parents that adopted the older children, siblings.
So that's the fictive connection.
Yes,
And the department's still willing to work with dad at this time, it sounds like. Is that correct?
yes.
No additional questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Podpoinski.
Thank you, Judge. Now, these parents, they've got let's start here. With respect to mom, can you identify what specific court-ordered services she is not participating in?
She has not done her psychological evaluation. I don't have one on file. She has not engaged in individual therapy. She has not gone back to drug treatment, and she continues using, and she has not participated in the random UAs.
Okay, now, okay, and both these folks have a prior termination, do they not? In the
Yes.
CPS history?
Yes, they do.
And mom flat out admits, and she doesn't even hide it. She's telling you and telling us that she's still using and she just will not quit. I mean, isn't that true?
Yes,
Okay, all right. All right. And isn't it also true that she's also involved in a new relationship with a new paramour that is concerning for the department?
yes, she is.
Okay. Do you think she's going to be able to take these kids have pretty intense medical needs, do they not?
Kaylee Ann does have intense needs.
Okay. And Crystal's got some medical issues too, does she not?
Crystal does. In fact, she is scheduled to have her tubes in her ears on the 28th of this month.
Right. Now, do you think mom is in a position to provide for these children?
No, what mom has told me is, in fact, she's the one that contacted the previous adoptive parents. And she asked me if we can place with them,
Okay.
because she wasn't ready to engage in services.
Okay. Now, with respect to the father, can you tell the court what specific services he is not engaged in?
He is not engaged in individual therapy. He has not participated in the parenting classes. He's not participating in random UAs. And I believe those are the three. He has done the psychological, but has not followed any of the recommendations on it.
Okay. Now, do you think the father in this case understands and accepts that his children have some medical issues, or is he in denial and thinking that we're making all this up?
When he questioned me asking when was Kaylee Ann going to get over her allergies, it just made it clear to me that he doesn't understand how serious her conditions are.
And because he doesn't understand, do you think he's in a position to provide them the medical attention that they need?
I don't believe so.
Okay. All right. Nothing further. Thank you, Judge.
Hey, Mr. Kapmeyer, Mr. Collins. You don't want
Judge, I have a quick question. If Doug,
go ahead, Mr. Collins.
And so the concerns about the allergies and everything, is that something that would be covered in the parenting class?
I'm not sure what is covered in the parenting classes, but I think that will require someone sitting down, explaining the medical issues with him in more detail.
And would the department have access to someone who could sit down with dad with a medical background to talk to dad to see if that gets it through to him? Could you look into that at least?
I can look into that.
Okay. No additional questions, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Collins. Mr. Poplinski, do you have a report for the court recommendations?
I do, Your Honor. I'm asking the court to find neither parent in compliance. The kids are doing great. They're in the best place they could possibly be. Both these two little girls have significant medical issues, not just the little one. The older one is having tubes and adenoid surgery here in a couple of weeks. These caregivers have gone above and beyond to take care of all these kids' needs. They're also incurring significant out-of-pocket medical expenses because the insurance was only going to go so far. And I mean, these folks are all in looking after these two kiddos. I think ultimately the permanency goal needs to be termination. The placement's working. I don't know if they got the kid. I think maybe that's why Boysville's with us, but they're trying to get Crystal into like behavioral and play therapy, get her up to speed so she can be where she needs to be when she starts pre-K in August. I just think that the placement is phenomenal, and we just need to get where we're going in this case.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Poplinski. Mr. Collins, anything on behalf of your client?
Your Honor, we had a family group conference. I think it was very good. It was a kind of a come to Jesus. We laid everything out there on the table, and discussed with Dad. He said he understood the things that he needed to get service plan and go do the services. So I guess we're just going to have to see if he actually follows through on that, Your Honor. But like I said, it was a very good family group conference we had the other day.
So we're over. Let's see. We're over. Let's see how long this case is going on. 288, 290. So we're over 9 months into this case, Mr. Collins. What can we do, if anything, to help motivate your client or get him to make some changes?
Your Honor, we've discussed it. The caseworkers discussed it. I've talked to him about it. At this point, it's Dad's got to step up to do the stuff.
Okay, Mr. Kapmeyer, anything on behalf of your client, Ms. Salinas?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
And Ms. Curado, anything else on behalf of the department today?
Nothing further, Judge.
Okay, the court, based upon the testimony of the witnesses, continues the placement of both children in their foster to adopt home. I do find that placements meet all their physical and emotional needs, and it's the least restrictive placement at this time. I find that no parent is in compliance with their court order plans of service. If I order mediation in this case, you think the parents will participate?
I don't really think mine will, Your Honor.
I think Dad might, Your Honor, but I can't say until it happens. But I think mediation might be good to get us all on the same Zoom and kind of hash it out to know which direction we're going, just to give the court some direction.
I mean, I'd be fine with it. I just don't think it'll be productive.
Yeah, I will authorize mediation in this case. I'm not going to specifically order it. If y'all are able to get the parents together, then go ahead and mediate it. But I'm not going to order it at this point. Okay, so again, our next setting is a trial setting on April 6th, 2023 at 9:30 a.m. Today's date is February 16th. Thank you. 2023. We are set today on the court's docket for a permanency review after final order. This case is being heard today by the Syntex Child Protection Court South, sitting for the District Courts of Guadalupe County, Texas. We're going to have announcements of the attorneys first, and we'll start with the department, please.
Melissa Cuadrado for the Department of Family and Protective Services.
Okay, Mr. Davis.
Jay Davis for the child, ready, Judge.
Okay. And Mr. Bruns, can you tell us your name, please?
Gregory Bruns.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bruns. The court also knows that we have representatives here with us today from Belong as well as from CASA. So, Ms. Cuadrado, who would you like to call as a witness?
Miss Cerniquitos, where are you employed?
I'm employed with Belong.
Is Belong an agent of the department providing case management services to children in care?
Yes.
When did you become the caseworker on this case?
Officially on the 10th of February.
Okay. So you've recently taken this case over, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Have you had the opportunity to staff this case with someone at Belong?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now, how old is Kendra?
Kendra is 11 years old.
And where is she currently placed?
She's currently placed in a foster home here in San Antonio area.
Okay. All right. And how is Kendra currently doing?
She is doing great in her placement. She is an honor student. She's in 6th grade, so she's been doing great there. She is bonded with her foster parents. I believe she's been there for 2 years now. There's really no concern. She does take 2 medications. She used to take more than that, but she's down to 2 for anxiety and mood swings.
In this case, there was an ICPC home study initiated in this case, correct?
Yes.
And who was that ICPC home study initiated on?
It was initiated on her sister, Bruns.
Sorry.
Sorry. I can't pronounce her last name.
That's okay. Now, what is the status of that ICPC?
It was approved for placement. I talked to Kendra last night, and we're looking to have her placed during the spring break. The exact date of movement will be on March 15th.
Okay.
She's going on spring break here, and it'll be spring break over there as well, so she won't miss any school.
Okay. And where is that placement located?
It is played in Hollis, Oklahoma.
How does Kendra feel about changing placements?
She is excited. She wants to go live with her sister. She's very excited. She was a little sad about leaving her foster parents because they are bonded. But they're going to have a mini vacation on the first day of spring break before she leaves.
Okay. Okay. And do you believe that her current placement as it is, the foster home, do you believe that it's able to meet all of Kendra's needs?
Yes.
And do you believe that her current placement for the time being continues to be in her best interest?
Yes.
Okay. And for the time being, is Belong asking that the court continue Kendra's placement until she can be placed with her sister?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Sernakitos, you've only had this case for a short time. Have you had any contact with Mr. Bruns during that time?
No, I have not.
Okay, and to your knowledge, the prior caseworker in this case, had they had any recent contact with Mr. Bruns?
No, she had not.
Okay, in fact, does Belong even know where Mr. Bruns is residing at this current time?
His whereabouts are still unknown.
Okay, to your knowledge, does Kendra desire to have a relationship with her father, Mr. Bruns?
Kendra has refused to visit with him since their last visit. And she
Okay.
doesn't want any contact with
Now
him.
that Mr. Bruns is present today in court, Ms. Sernakitos, will you try to reach out to him and speak with Mr. Bruns about this case?
Yes.
What is the permanency goal for Kendra, now that she's going to be placed with her sister?
To give her a permanency. I'm not sure if we can do the PCA because it's a different state. But for sure, permanent guardianship with her.
Okay, permanent managing conservatorship to her sister.
Yes.
Okay, all right. I'll go ahead and pass the witness, Judge.
Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Judge. Is Kendra still in therapy?
I believe she is in therapy, yes.
Do you think that it'd be possible while this case is still going on that she continue therapy with her current therapist?
For while she's here in this placement, yes. When she gets transferred to her sister's, she'll get a different therapist.
Do you know if her current therapist offers virtual therapy virtually?
I am not sure. I didn't discuss the therapy sessions with the foster parents last night when I was visiting.
And you would agree that it would be beneficial for her to continue therapy based on the transition that she's about to make?
Yes.
Okay. And she recently had a visit with her sister, is that correct?
She had a visit for Christmas with her sister and it went well.
Okay. And she seems attached and wants to be with her sister, is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. And can you tell the court the reason why we didn't wait to the end of the school year to move her versus halfway through the semester?
We didn't want to lose the ICPC connection. We would have to start over. And everything's set for her to be moved.
And this was discussed with Kendra and she's excited about the move. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's all I have, Judge. I pass.
Okay. Mr. Bruns, this is Judge Stuckey. Do you have any questions for the worker, Ms. Sernakitos?
No, sir.
Okay. Ms. Cudato, any other witnesses you wish to call?
I just have one last brief question for Ms. Sernakitos, Judge.
Okay. Go ahead.
Thank you. Ms. Sernakitos, will you will you contact Kendra's current therapist and inquire as to whether or not she can continue therapy with the same therapist by Zoom?
Yes, I will.
Okay, thank you so much. And Judge, I would briefly like to call Bruns.
Can you repeat that, Ms. Cudato?
I said that I would briefly like to call Mr. Bruns as my next witness.
Okay. Mr. Bruns, if you'll raise your right hand so I can give you an oath, please. You swear the testimony you're going to provide in this case is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Cudato.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Bruns.
Good morning.
Can you please tell us where you're currently living? Okay. And
Oh, Mr. Bruns, if you can try to cut down the wind noise a little bit for us, please.
Sorry about that.
and are you currently employed, Mr. Bruns?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And do you have a new phone number?
No, my phone number's been the same for the last 7 years.
Okay, all right. So have you received any attempts to contact you by the department or by Belong?
No, ma'am.
Okay, all right. And what are your thoughts about Kendra going to live with her sister?
I'm happy about it.
Okay, good. I'll pass the witness, Judge.
Mr. Davis, any questions for Mr. Bruns?
I have no questions.
Okay. All right, Ms. Corrado, any other witnesses?
No, Judge.
Okay. Okay. What would CASA like me to know today about Kendra?
Kendra seems very happy. She's doing well. She feels safe and secure in her current placement. She's also very excited about going to live with Gianna. She had a great visit with her over Christmas. So CASA definitely supports that placement. We've had limited contact with Mr. Bruns. I've reached out to him a number of times and just have not really been able to connect. But I'm happy that he's happy with the placement with Gianna. We would also recommend that he pay some child support to help Gianna in her care for Kendra.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Dodson. Anything else?
I think that's it.
Mr. Davis, do you have a report and recommendation for the court today?
Yes, Your Honor. I did speak with Kendra. She's doing extremely well in the home. She's an honor roll student, doing good in school. The normal teenage behavior, very sassy. She's a very smart girl. She is excited about this move. I asked her about the visit with her sister. It went really well. She's excited about the move, although she's a little sad to be leaving the current placement. The good thing is that she maintains contact with them. Even during the visit, she was calling them. So, and they're willing to continue to stay in her life. So there'll be a support system for her. I'm happy that this has come about. I mean, it gives Mr. Burns an opportunity to continue to be in his daughter's life, and hopefully over time they can work on that relationship. But she's doing well, Judge. I have no issues or concerns with her, and I would have liked to see the move at the end of the school year, Judge, but I understand the department's position and Kendra's for it, so I support it, Judge.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Davis. Mr. Bruns, anything you'd like me to know today when making decisions for Kendra?
No, sir. I'm just hoping she gets to go live with her sister. This can be
Okay,
over.
Mr. Bruns, are you having any contact with Kendra?
Very little.
Very little. Okay. Well, she's an 11-year-old, and don't give up on her, Mr. Bruns.
That'll never happen.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that you approve of the potential move to live with her sister, obviously in Oklahoma. That is great, a pretty good distance from you, but that doesn't mean you can't try to maintain some contact with her, build a relationship again. Okay, so based upon that, the court does approve the department's plan of moving Kendra to her sister Gianna's home in Oklahoma. Until that time, the court does order and continue Kendra's current placement to find that her placements meet all her physical and emotional needs, and it's the least restricted placement this time. The department's conservatorship is continued. Because we're looking at doing a move in about a month, Bertha, I'd like to bring this case back in, we'll say maybe sometime in mid-April as a review hearing.
Okay. Let's see.
So we're going to come back for a review hearing on April 6th at 2:30 in the afternoon. Again, April 6th at 2:30 in the afternoon. And the purpose of that review hearing will be to check on Kendra and make sure that the placement one has occurred and that there are no issues with the placement. So again, we'll see you back on April 6th. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. You may be excused.
Thank you, Judge.